Shalom to everyone. This week's Parashat Ekev from Zera Shimshon. It talks about how Jewish nation ate man, HaShem gave us man, and it says, Vaye'ancha, HaShem tortured you, Vaye'evecha, and he starved you, Vaye'achilcha et haman, and HaShem made you eat man. As Midrash Avkir brings in Ein Yaakov, page 74b, and this pasuk, Vaye'ancha vaye'evecha vaye'achilcha et haman, have Hashem tortured you, starved you, made you starve, vaye'achilcha, and he fed you the man. Mikan remez la'adlakat nerot Shabbat. From here we see a hint from the man that Hashem tortured you, starved you, and then made you eat man. From here we learn a source to lighting candles for Shabbat. Honestly, I don't see any source for man that Hashem tortured us and he starved us to eat man. I don't see the connection with lighting candles. How does it connect to lighting candles that our wives or us do on every Friday night? Ubiur inyan haman im adlakat hanerot yuvan b'midrash Rabbah. An explanation is brought in Midrash Rabbah, brings pasuk from Kohelet, Hey Yud Aleph. Really, it's in pasuk Yud. Hey Yud, chapter 5, pasuk 10. Al pasuk Berabot HaTorah, it says, Hashem, and so much good you do, Rabu Ochleha. When you do a lot of kindness, a lot of tzedakah, those people that eat your tzedakah also becomes increased. What does that mean? There's two explanations Rashi brings. First explanation is, Hashem, you give us so many mitzvot, and there's so many Jewish people who keep the mitzvot. That's first answer. Second answer, because you, Hashem, gave us mitzvah to bring sacrifice, a lot of korbanot, we have a lot of kohanim who eat those korbanot. Okay? So what's the connection to Hashem tortured you, he starved you, and he made you eat man? Is man food for starving? Natan lahem HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael et haman. Is this food that causes you starving, that Hashem gave you man? Is this starving object that makes you starve? Isn't this man had every taste possible? Every second was changing taste. So how can you say it's starving food? Ma'asa hevi lifneim shtei kishuin. Hashem brought in front of Jewish nation when he gave man 2 squash. Can you imagine? Every person has 2 squash. Walking around with squash. 1 whole, 1 half. Achat shlema v'achat shevura. 1 is whole squash, 1 is broken squash. Everyone walks in the desert with 2 squash. 1 is whole and 1 is broken. Omar hada shlema tahi bekama. So one person asks, if I have whole squash, how much costs? Amar le betlen monin, 200. Vahada tvira bakama, but the broken one how much? Amar le bachad mona, 100. So again, broken squash is 100 and a whole squash is 200. The question is why? Why broken squash should be 200? Isn't broken, it's almost whole, just a little bit broken on top. Just because a little bit broken should be 100? It's almost the same size. So then he explains in Ein Yaakov over there, he explains and he says like this: Omar le lo dome. Kshem sha'adam ne'ene minatam, kach hu ne'ene mina re'iyah. How a person eats squash and he enjoys, same thing sometimes, not only sometimes, all the time. You see when the object is complete, you also enjoy. So once, even though it's the same size, the same taste, but since one of them is the top is missing, when you look at it, you don't enjoy it. There is no enjoyment by looking at it, therefore, price 50% off. The first squash is complete, whole. Once it's whole, you look at it. Not only from taste you get enjoyment, from look also you get enjoyment. So we see from here, when you don't get enjoyment from look, right away 50% price should be down. What is the proof? What's the connection? We began from man. Then we connected with the candles. So what has to do with this? What does it do with squash, one, half, price of one is 200, price of half is 100. What is going on here? The answer is, ואם כן, בזמן שלא היו ראויים אלא המן, והיה משתנה לכמה טעמים נקרא עינוי ורעבון. When they look at man, right, they want to make up with decision to eat one thing, and suddenly, before they want to eat, it turns to different thing. It's terrible, because they're not eating what they saw. They saw one thing, now they're thinking different thing, and they're eating different thing. It's not enjoyable, because when you eat something and you don't see what you're eating, it's not enjoyable. So therefore, man that they saw one taste in it, and meanwhile they were eating, they were thinking a different taste, it changed the top, it changed the face, there's no enjoyment. Therefore it becomes inui vera'avon, torture and starvation. As it says in chapter 8 in Gemara Yoma, page 74b, Eno dome mi sheyesh lo pat besalo lemi she'en lo. There's no comparable. You cannot compare to a case when person has bread in his bag or in his pocket than the person who doesn't. Ve'eno dome, and also you can't compare mi shero'eh ve'ochel lemi she'eno ro'eh ve'ochel, to a person who can eat, who can see what he's eating, to a person who can't see what he's eating. When you eat even the best steak in the world, but if you don't see it, there's no happiness in it. But when you have light in front of you, and you're eating the food, and you eat what you see, then there's blessing. When people ate man, they saw one thing. They were thinking during the eating different thing. It changed the taste. That was not a bracha. That was not happiness. But when you have Friday night candle on, and you see what you're eating, and the taste is there, and the look is there, that is the double enjoyment. And this is also comparison to that cucumbers, to squash. One squash is complete. By look, you also get enjoyment. Second squash is broken. By look, you don't get enjoyment. Therefore, this is 100 and that is 200. Shasumin, continuation in Zera Shimshon. Shasumin ochlim ve'enan seveim. Can you imagine? If person doesn't see what he eats, he does not get satisfied. Blind people, they eat, but they don't get satisfied. And because of this, since we are not allowed to starve on Shabbat, we're not allowed to fast on Shabbat. Opposite, it's obligation for us to eat and make Suda on Friday night, Friday daytime. Again, to call Shabbat enjoyment. Therefore, we must put candles for Shabbat so we see what we eat. So it shouldn't be the name of starvation and torture. So we see what we eat. And this is what it says. Since the pasuk says, and HaShem tortured you, and HaShem made you starve, and He fed you man. From here we see the connection to the lighting candles on Shabbat. So when you sit on Friday night table or Shabbat daytime, but really Friday night, because that time you don't have light, and Baruch Hashem today it doesn't apply to us because we have all over electricity. Those days they didn't have. So now Friday night, those days they didn't have light. That time when they have light on the table, they have all the enjoyments in the world. What they enjoy from the taste and from the enjoyment from the seeing what they're eating. And this is what it means. You should call Shabbat enjoyable. It depends on a person to call it enjoyable. Why? When you have good light, when you have good food, that's what makes your Shabbat enjoyable. ואף לאחר שזימן המאכלים לא שגיא, אם לא יקראנו עונג דהיינו בהדלקת הנרות. If a person could buy 1,000 different type of chicken, meat, and steak, and fish, and everything, and it doesn't have good light, that is not called enjoyable. But when there's good light, it is called enjoyable. And also, בדרך אחר, in another version, in another way, יש לומר, we could say, דאית במפרשים הטעם שנתן הקדוש ברוך הוא לישראל המן, דרך עינוי ורעבון. The reason why Hashem gave us man through the torture and starvation, היינו לפי שהמן היה מזון רוחני, because man is not physical food, it's spiritual, ולא גופני, it's not physical. ואי אפשר ליהנות בעולם הזה משום דבר רוחני. In this world you cannot enjoy spiritual food. ובפרט, הנאה גופנית, and you want to enjoy with the physical enjoyment, it's not going to happen. כמו זו שהיה לו לשמש למזון האדם. ומשום כך ניתנה להם דרך עינוי ורעבון, כדי שלא תהיה הנאתן שלמה מדבר רוחני. As example, what we had here, that person had for personal enjoyment, and therefore he had to go through suffering and starvation in order to make this physical food into a spiritual. So anytime there's a spiritual food in this world, person gets through suffering. Anytime there's physical food, there's no suffering at all. So why do I need to make my Shabbat food cold into man and then get it through suffering? And then because I have candles on the table, my suffering turns to enjoyment. Why do I need all this story for? רק הנאה חסרה כמו שהם כל טובות העולם הזה שאינם הנאה שלמה. In any enjoyment that really HaShem gave us, man, it was spiritual. HaShem wanted us to go through suffering. Anything that is spiritual, HaShem wants us to go through suffering. Why? Because in this world, no one ever will have enjoyment complete. There's no complete enjoyment. Anywhere you go, anywhere you do, anything you do, and then the day you see, oh, we missed this, oh, we forgot this, or something was missed. Why? Because in this world, you can't have spiritual enjoyment completely. והנה, and therefore, מה שאנו אוכלים בשבת הוא מזון גופני וחשוב לנו כמו מזון רוחני. Shabbat meal, even though it is physical, the enjoyment makes it into spiritual. Why do I need to make Shabbat meal spiritual? Because Sha'arei כתב על ראשית חוכמה. Because ראשית חוכמה says in Sha'arei Kedusha, chapter 15, שכל הבשר והשומן המתרבה באדם בשביל אכילת שבת ויום טוב, anything, all the meat, all the fat that increases in your stomach on Shabbat and Yom Tov, אינו נהפך לרימה ותולעה. It will not turn, after 120 years in the grave, is not going to turn into worms. Anything person eats for enjoyment turns to worms. But anything person eats for Shabbat, on Shabbat, he eats a lot of meat, a lot of fish, turn to fat, turn to anything in his stomach, in his body. It will not turn to worms. And because of this, it says in the Pasuk 9, verse 9 in chapter 16, Av besari yishkon lavetach. Even my flesh will remain forever. Who is he talking about? A person who enjoys Shabbat meal. ואם כן, מן הדין הוא שצריך לאכלו בלי עינוי ולעוון. And according to the law, a Shabbat person is not allowed to eat from suffering and starvation. He has to enjoy, והיינו לאכלו, enjoy בנרות דלקות, with the lighting candles, כדי שתהא כדי שביעה. So it should be enjoyable and satisfied. Sha'arei zot השביעה היא שביעה רוחנית. And this satisfaction is satisfaction of the spiritual, because it remains forever. Sha'arei אין נהפכת לרימה ותולעה. It will not turn into worms and all the other stuff after 120 years. וליתן בה סימן של שביעה רוחנית שהיא כולה אורה. In order to give us that this is enjoyable of spiritual, this is fully lightened up, fully with light. Next piece. וזהו דאיתא בילקוט, and this is what it says in ילקוט, שמעוני, על פסוק בהעלות חטא הנרות, Hashem says, light up the nerot. Which nerot? כבוד שבת הם נרותיה. Because כבוד שבת that you light candles, this is the nerot, this is the candles we're talking about. ובזכותם אני מראה לכם נרות של ציון, ואני בכבודי מאיר לכם. Hashem says, and because of this, I'll show you the light of the Yerushalayim, and I will be lighting to you myself, Hashem says. No more sun will be lighting and food, giving you food and giving you red stuff into the fruits. Hashem says, I'm going to be to you this. כדכתיב, לא יהיה לך עוד השמש. Hashem says, and there will no more will be sun for you. והיה לך השם לאור עולם. Hashem will be your light forever. וכל כך למה? And all this, why? Hashem will take the sun away. He will light himself towards us. Why? בזכות הנרות שאתם מדליקים בשבת. Because of you who light candles on Shabbat. Please say this message to everybody. Because of these people, Hashem says, I'm going to take the sun away from you. And I will be your son. Why? Because of those people who light candles on Shabbat. וזה יהיה הפירוש. מדרשנו שמאותו טעם עצמו שנתן להם המן שהוא רוחני בעינוי ולעוון כדי שיהיה בו קצת גופניות. Therefore Hashem gave us man with suffering, so it should be in it a little bit of physical, וחיסרון, should be missing something, כדי שיוכל להתגשם ולהיות מזון לאדם גופני. So in order person should get his physical pleasure for his body. משום הכי, מאותו טעם עצמו צריך הנרות דולקות בסעודות ליל שבת. And because of this physical part, we need Shabbat candles to light. כדי לרמוז לרוחניות, in order to give us a hint of the spiritual part of it. אופן המזון הגשמי שאנו מתהפך לרימה ותולעה. So in order our physical need food, through the candles will not turn to worms and so on. וזהו כבוד גדול לשבת, and this is the great honor for Shabbat, שבזה אנו רומזים שאותה אכילה היא לנו כמו אכילה רוחנית, that on Shabbat we not, even though we need physical sustenance, still that's not the main thing. We turn it into spiritual through the lighting of the candles. And this, now it makes sense to what our Chachamim says in Gemara, Psachim, page 101, Michael, Amud Aleph, on the first side. And Kiddush ela b'makom seuda. There is no Kiddush, but only in the place where you make meal. Why? Lefi seuda zo Kiddusha. Because this meal on Shabbat is holiness, veruchaniyut. It's spiritual, yeshba, and it has spiritual in it. This meal. Ulchen tzarich laasot kiddush kodem achila. Therefore, we have to make kiddush before we eat. Kedei lirmot she'achila zo kula kedusha. In order to teach, to hint that from this part and on, even though meal didn't start, we start kiddush. But the whole meal becomes holy because of the kiddush. And from beginning even meal until the after meal, everything is holy. This is why we call it what? Shabbat Kiddush. We don't say Zechira. It says in the Torah, what? Zachor et Yom HaShabbat lekadsho. Remember Shabbat to make it holy. It doesn't say Kiddush et Yom HaShabbat. Why is it Kiddush? Because we turn physical food into spiritual. וניחא שאף שקראו לקידוש ולא זכירה אף על גב, דנפקא לה מקרא דזכור את יום השבת וזכרהו על היין בכניסתו. Hashem should give us ברכה, הצלחה. Prepare for Shabbat. Tomorrow night, light candles. Turn physical into spirituality. Bring Mashiach, and we should grow in Torah. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen wa amen. Shabbat shalom to everyone. Nati?